Yeah, but there was a lot more cars going that way, and I get that, but I'm sure glad to see them take those
I
signs
can
down.
imagine. We are too.
I have a question for you. What was the city council action on the public hearing that we held last month?
On the Junker
Yes.
version, it was a unanimous no, if I recall, Scott.
That's
correctly.
correct, yes.
Rejecting the application, or
I think that's for our service.
turning it down, yeah.
On the planning commission, I think that's I think that's
Yeah.
for our service.
City council appreciated our attention and
Yeah.
focus to the project and the feedback that we gave,
Be
and
calm and,
The cops weren't even needed. They were here, but they weren't
Yeah.
needed.
All right, so anything else? All right, so now we're gonna move on to the visitor slash public comment. This is an opportunity for the public to address the commission with questions or concerns either on or not on the agenda tonight. Is there anyone here that has anything they want to talk about?
Of the three people here?
All right, so we'll move on to the public hearings. We can start with Ricky Nelson. I think you guys all have his packet there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will give a brief opening. Rick Nelson has made application for a conditional use permit. It would allow for a curb cut of more than 24 feet at 15242 64th Street North. The applicant was granted a conditional use permit in July of 2020 for an attached garage and house addition. The driveway is now, the applicants now want to complete the driveway and have requested a 60-foot curb cut. Property is zoned R2, of course, allowing residential. As you can see from the site photo, there's a couple site photos. Yeah, you can see from that one. There's a surmountable curb on 64th, meaning it's not a hard curb. It's surmountable, and it's in place along the length of the property. The site plan indicates the proposed driveway will extend along the entire length of the garage to within 5 feet of the property line. So as you're looking straight ahead, you can see the garage, and then to the left, they want to extend almost to the property line. Air photo shows that the right-of-way of 64th Street, so that's the one as you're looking down, what Eric has up on the board, that the right-of-way of 64th Street is 60 feet wide. The property line is 6.2 feet from the front of the house. That was part of the variance that we looked at for the garage addition, and then 22.7 feet from the front of the garage. So the house is forward, and then the garage is set back. Area of the boulevard from the property line to the curb of 64th Street is approximately 17 feet wide. It's a fairly wide area of boulevard in that area. Just to note that at the time, the applicants had proposed a 24-foot curb cut with their site plan. The ordinance indicates that no curb cut access shall exceed 24 feet, except by conditional use permit, so that's why we're here tonight. Intent of this requirement within ordinances is just to maintain a more residential look to the street and neighborhood. Staff feels that the 60-foot driveway is not compatible with that neighborhood and exceeds what normally you find for a single-family house. Staff has reviewed the request and recommend that no more than a 30-foot wide curb cut be installed in that location. That's roughly the width of the garage portion of the house. As I indicated in the report, in looking at some surrounding properties, those that are pretty much adjacent to the property, you're looking at roughly between 24 and 28 feet. Now, there is one, as you're looking to the screen to the right, it looks like there's a dual access point for two houses, and that obviously is more than that 28 feet. But again, pre-existing situation. But those others, as you're looking to the left, just to the left of the subject property, those I believe I measured at about 26 or 28 feet. So that's what's more normal for the, or more common for the neighborhood. So that is our recommendation. We have recommended denial of the 60-foot, but would offer to the planning commission to discuss possibly a 24-foot wide curb cut, or a 30-foot curb cut in that area. And that the area of the boulevard, one of the conditions states that the area of the boulevard at least 15 feet in wide be planted with grass and maintained from the west property line to that curb cut wherever we end up ending at. So, any questions at this point?
I have a question. So from the aerial photo where the red line is till there's a blue line that's, I don't know, I guess it, so this one, so I'm comparing it to this photo of the front of the house. So that line's over here.
It's going this way.
So the aerial photo is from 2020, and our building was built.
Changed,
after
it's
this.
changed.
Yeah,
So
so
I
this is
mean,
the old.
when I read out, you know, why Oak Park wants to deny this, I thought, well, yeah, that sounds great. But then when I looked at the photo, I was like, well, that's their driveway already, so what does it matter? It's already, the curb is already how it is, and what does that matter? I mean, I don't think it's gonna be unattractive or anything. I mean, are the neighbors complaining? I mean,
No.
so.
Yeah, the public hearing hasn't opened
Yeah.
yet, so we'll give you a chance
We'll
to
give you a chance
to speak to it, so. So the intent of that, again, you know, unfortunately, the aerials haven't been updated. And it does show a surmountable curb, at least on the pictures. But again, to have consistency within the neighborhood, relative consistency with the ordinance, if we start allowing everyone to have the whole front yard being a driveway that you can pull up into, you lose that residential character. There is a reason why the ordinance states 24, because that's what, you know, typically you find in suburban and city residential
I
development.
just don't think that neighborhood there's anything too much typical. It's not a very cookie cutter, so, I don't know. That's my only,
Sure.
I don't see a problem with it.
Okay. Any other questions for staff before we open public hearing? So we will open the public hearing at 6:10. If the applicant would like to address the commission?
So to answer your question, right now it is all gravel. And the whole thing from the garage side all the way to the neighbor's property. We do have some weeds growing up in that area, and we have been told that we need to take care of those weeds, and concrete would definitely fix those weeds. We wouldn't.
So if you guys put whatever they say, the 30 feet, you'd have concrete 30 feet, and then you'd have to maintain like grass or something? Is that what they're saying?
Well, we're trying to figure that out, and that's why we're here today.
Okay.
I brought a couple different options with us that we could maybe go through and see if you guys have any ideas or thoughts, or what you like about it, what you don't like about it, and then we can kind of just go from there. That works.
You have copies for everyone? Excellent, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Super.
Thank you.
Okay, on the first page, you can see that's our proposed. What we wanted was the 60 feet, and then on the left side, we have a 5-foot extension for greenway. And that was our first option and what we would really like to do overall. Second option would to be just as 32 feet, so not quite 30 feet, it'd be 32 feet, so you're coming off the building just a little bit. So you get more of a way to get through and put cars through so that we can park in the back. We have 3 boys, they're all going to be driving, and so with that, we don't have parking on the north side, or no, the south side of our entire block. I know that Blake has put no parking signs in his yard. It's a pain in the ass. People come down and they don't park, and then they park, and you can't park on the street, so we have nowhere to park. So if you let us have a driveway, we can safely and by the law park in our driveway.
Excuse me, so there's, if I could ask, there's no parking signs if a private resident, obviously we have Blake, but doesn't,
The whole thing.
well, obviously those are not official signs, so you,
Right.
Official signs posted.
They're posted,
nobody
but
follows them.
nobody
So,
listens to them.
the-
So Blake
okay,
put them up so that.
okay,
people
well,
listen.
wait, okay, let's wait here. There are no parking signs that Blake put up?
There are no parking signs that Oak Park Hike has had in place for many years.
Okay, so I don't think Blake put them up.
Blake did put signs up when there was an art exhibition saying no
Okay,
parking.
so they're not
People will try.
public signs that are, they're there constantly?
They're not there.
Okay, okay. Just want- Because if the city has put signs up, call me and talk to me about it, and I'll take care of that. So I don't know want to get into the personal issues here.
There's no personal issues. I'm pointing out a
Okay.
fact that you can't park on the south side, so our parking is limited.
So the city has
The city has, due to
no
the hill,
parking
yes.
signs on that street?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Due to the hill for plowing, you
Okay,
can't park
fair
on that
enough.
side.
There's an ordinance about streets that you can't park on, and the south side of 64th Street is one of them.
Very well made.
It's in the ordinance, so.
63rd,
But you
63rd,
can park,
64th.
at least from the
You can park
aerial
on
it
the north
shows,
side.
I don't know if it's legal or not, but there are cars parked on the north side of 64.
Yeah, you can park on the
So
north
that's
side.
okay.
Just says the
That's all.
south side
Just
in
the
in
south
the
side.
ordinance that I saw, but
Yep.
I was looking for any kind of restrictions on it.
It's a
and that's
narrow
what I
road,
came
you can't get by if there's.
So
cars on
let's
both sides.
allow
So
the
it's
applicant to
complete.
provide
What
theirs.
else do you want?
So the second option just shows that you give the 32 foot, then you have the green space, which is 30 foot wide, 31 foot wide, and 5 feet deep, which is the city's property. And then the option number 3 is the same idea, where it's 30 foot cut, and then 29 feet of green space, and then a 3 foot space of green space leading to the back. So those were the 3 options that we kind of came up with, and we were kind of just to see what you guys thought, and yeah.
Do we have any questions for the applicant?
I'll wait till I don't think I have any questions of the applicant. It just seems like, so you're looking for basically 4 stalls wide of car parking. And then
Yeah.
along the side of the garage, you want to be able to park 4 cars there.
Yeah,
Okay.
truck and a trailer.
I don't know if, yeah, I mean, I was out there today and I saw the truck and trailer, 2 trucks and a trailer. For the parking pad, is there any width thing for how
There
wide
is
it can
not.
be?
No.
Okay, so it could be as wide as you want, as long as it comes off the normal garage?
Right, exactly.
Yeah, see, I don't, well,
All right.
I don't have any.
Do you have any questions, or we'll close the public hearing? Do we have anything else? Does anybody else here want to speak? Well,
Get up and speak.
come on, address yourself.
Yep,
Come to
come
the
on up.
mic, tell us your name, where you live.
I'm Andy Rollwagon. I live at 6375 Pecan Avenue North, so just to the south of the subject property, if you will.
South and east?
I didn't see the plans or the charts, so none of that stuff came up. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I happen to have an island. I'm not suggesting that that's the solution, but I suppose if I didn't have an island, it'd probably be 60 feet, like they're asking for. I'm not a fan of being able to just, pull in and park and park and park and park. I'm seeing cars going in like they go in a driveway normally, straight in. But then 1, 2, 3, 4, and no offense, everybody's doing everything to keep their property and up to speed, but, there's a lot of business material, containers and things from time to time. And I just think if it's open, it's never gonna be finished in the sense that you're gonna have impermeable or something. I don't know what the surface is going to be, but it would seem to me an island or something in the middle would be perfect. And then you'd have 24 feet and 24 feet and 20 feet in the middle, or 18. It's just a thought. But we pay property taxes and I know all the streets aren't finished. Barry, I love you and my neighbors. And I know that, things are grandfathered maybe because Barry and others have been here for way before me. I've only been a resident for 30 years. But I love it. We absolutely love it. And I just want what's best. And I'm not for a 60-plus foot opening.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate that. Do we have any other public comments?
If we did an island, so to say, 24 plus 24 is 48, that would be 48 feet that we would be requesting. We're not asking for 48, we're asking for 30, 32, or 60.
Okay. Do we have any other?
Barry Torkson, I own property across the street. I have no objections. I'd rather have them off the street than on the street. So, makes a lot of sense.
And when we're doing construction, it requires a dumpster, so that construction material is
Okay, do you have any
So,
other
I have a
comments?
question. So I'm assuming if you've got like a work truck with a trailer behind it, it's gonna be easier to have that 60-foot
Yep.
like that. And like, so say if you can't get it and you're doing the 32, whatever, is it difficult for you to get your work trailer and your truck off in, through that little, where it kind of, between
Yeah.
the garage and this, is it hard for you to get your vehicles in and
It
out?
would be. 35 would make a lot more sense, but it's, I don't know, we were just told to have a couple different options.
Okay,
So if we could do 35, I'd be happy with 35 too. But
okay,
it's just a matter of what we get approved for.
okay. I was just wondering, 'cause
Yeah.
it's different when you see it, you know, when you have to work with it than when it's on paper. So I just want to know what's convenient for you guys, you know, so.
Scott?
So just a clarification, what you're proposing with these green areas is only 5 feet from the curb, right, of landscape area? What we're suggesting is 15 feet, which still allows 24 feet. It allows a substantial area here. 15 feet seemed reasonable. If it's 10 feet, whatever, I think 5 feet's a little narrow for maintenance and so forth, but that's just staff opinion on that.
Okay, any other comments? We're gonna close the public hearing. Then we can talk about it.
Do I have a motion that we, make a motion that we close the public hearing?
A second.
Motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Public meeting is now closed, so we can talk about this a little bit. Who would like to go first?
Thank you.
I'll go if nobody else wants to. I'm not a big fan of having residential properties look like commercial properties. And I drove by it today and that's what it looks like. It looks like a commercial property. Maybe it's just because of the trucks that were in the driveway, the trailer behind it, but it looks like a commercial property. I don't have a problem with what the staff recommended, just making it a little bit wider. And if there's no restriction on how wide and how many cars they can park back there, I don't see that being a problem. But it was interesting what the other guy said about putting a little island. If you put an island north and south in between, you know, like off the corner, the left corner of your garage, not all the way up to the garage, but
I understand that, but he has 2 compact vehicles. An island is easy for him, but I have 2 large trucks and a trailer. It's not gonna work with me for an island.
Okay.
no, I'm talking about 2 24-foot wide openings.
I understand that.
One on each side of the,
Island looks, in my opinion, looks silly.
it might look silly, but it, and I would prefer to have you use 1 30-foot or whatever opening myself, but it's probably easier for you to do 2 24-foot ones. I mean, if that technically meets the letter of the law, I don't know, unless it says you can only have 1 driveway cut. Is there?
I guess I can't have the,
Can't have the back and forth.
I can't be having this back and forth. I need to address my comments to you. My concern, another concern to be aware of is the site is residential. Their use of the site is beginning to border on commercial with the number of trailers and the number of trucks. I don't think it's a wise move for the city to continue to enable that type of engagement. I get they want to be able to have their property conducive to their entire uses, being trucks and trailers and all that. That's great, but it's a residential district. It's a residential zone. Enabling that type of use is not consistent with the ordinance. You know, their request of seeing it being 30 or even 35 feet probably seems reasonable, and it probably very much is. But the expanding that to enable the trucks and the trailers for commercial use is what you're enabling. I get the number of children they have. We all have cars but this is,
Said they were 8 maybe?
but this is the nature of
Yeah,
the.
8 years before the
Yeah,
fact.
this is,
Long
well,
time.
but I mean, we all have families and want to get our, I mean, I have a son, we have 3 cars and that doesn't make it easy either, but we jockey and this and that. But I don't know, Scott, what's your
Yeah,
take on that?
the one thing I just wanted to clarify is the question about the islands and the number of curb cuts. You're allowed one curb cut per 125 feet. So, yeah, it's another, doesn't say anything about CUP on that, probably a variance, but again, I wouldn't entertain that. Again,
Well, it's not
we're
really
trying to
in front of us
maintain,
either, you
if
know.
we're trying to maintain a single-family appearance, it should be a boulevard area
So-
that's landscaped.
So my comments about the property is the pitch of the roof didn't match the original plans. So the house already doesn't look like it matches what is in the plans that we have in our packet today. The neighborhood, if you've driven around the neighborhood, has lots of the 24, 26 wide driveways with the triangle off and parking beside the houses. There's multiple properties up and down that road that you can look at that have that style layout. So I think it would be conducive to keep it the width of the garage, which is conducive to the neighborhood. Looks the way the neighborhood is. It's very consistent across the board. I think Andy has the one that's got the in and out with the island on it. I think that's the only house that has that in the neighborhood.
But it doesn't sound like the ordinance allows that.
Doesn't sound like
He
the
pro- he
ordinance-
probably,
old
he probably
grandfather.
grandfathers in, but if the ordinance doesn't allow it, then the ordinance doesn't allow it.
Yeah, so you can see there's the pretty consistent there with the way they are.
Well,
Go
this is-
down.
That's
is-
the Google picture, so that's
That's current.
That's
with the new
current.
one there.
Yep.
Yep.
So I mean, I just don't think it would look good. It's just a giant slab of concrete. And like staff said, it's enabling a business use when it's supposed to be a residential property. I think the standard driveway, like staff recommended, the width of the garage makes sense to me. I think a 45 with the 15-foot grassy space, coming back the grassy space between the other property between them, which I think the recommendation was 15 feet off the main boulevard, would make that look more fitting with the rest of the neighborhood.
Okay, that makes sense.
Scott, do you think, here's the image, right? And one of the designs that they provided was, you know, a 32-foot in front of the garage, for example. In the current process the city is undertaking, and I'm not saying the applicant would want to do this, hypothetically, let's say one of the curb cuts in front of the garage was 20 feet, just hypothetically, and they put in a horseshoe where
So in and out.
an in and out thing, and then on the other exit, so to speak, was 10 feet. Again, I'm just throwing it out there, and that way, if they do have a trailer, they can drive through and back it in, and they don't have to jockey quite so much. Certainly, it's the two access points, but it might make maneuverability actually easier. The width of the curb cut's somewhat irrelevant. I mean, we've all had a nightmare of driving trailers and boats and things, but if you can drive it around and then back it up straight, is that something the council?
You could do that, but we're going to have to re-advertise.
Okay,
because it
so-
requires a variance, because
So
two curb cuts.
that's a different process,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, just just the ordinance allows for the CUP for the more than 24 feet width.
Okay.
Doesn't allow the same for the multiple curb cuts.
And the garage is 30 feet, right? That's what you said,
Yeah,
was 30
it's
foot.
roughly 30
So it'd
feet
be the
wide.
same. Most of the driveways in the neighborhood come up the garage to the road.
So just to
45.
clarify though, we're entertaining making a recommendation to the city council for conditional use permit to allow it to be something other than 24 feet.
That's correct.
And that's what we need to keep in mind, or else we're gonna have to go back. Isn't that correct?
That's correct.
So I mean, if the island thing or some of these other options came up, that's not, no matter how creative they are, it's not gonna work tonight.
I would feel uncomfortable because we did not advertise specifically
Right.
for a variance.
Right.
We advertised for a conditional use permit. If it were adding just yet another conditional use permit, I'd feel okay with it. But again, it's a whole different process.
Okay, I didn't.
Technically the ordinance, so.
I know, I'm actually, 24 feet's one thing, but being able to drive around the horseshoe and then back up might be actually easier, even if it's 10 feet. You know?
I think that you're, when I look at this drawing to scale, the fact that the applicant's saying there's 28 feet from the garage to a 5-foot green space from the property line, I don't see, I gotta tell you, I don't see 30-some feet there. 33 feet? Is that,
Yeah, the property comes from the garage, so the shadow is about 28 feet, and then the 5 foot goes to the property line, which is.
how wide is the overhang? Is it a 2 foot? 2 foot, okay. Because I'm looking at just the scale of the garage. So that's a 30-foot wide garage, and you got, so it's 34 feet. And there's no chance.
So our property line comes up to about here.
Yep,
So,
yep. I'm saying that you couldn't take another copy of that house, for instance, and put it next to it without being into the other house.
okay.
No, that's, it'd be 30 some feet. Well, technically it's 34 with the overhangs.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And you're showing us 28 feet plus 5 feet, that's 33 feet. There's no way that there's 33 feet there.
So I measured from the aerial photograph, again, so the house is, what we're not seeing is the property line. So
Right.
the house is 6.2 feet from the property line, and the front of the garage then is 22.7 feet, and the area of the boulevard then is 17 feet.
In front.
In front, between the curb line,
Talking about on the west side.
on the west side, okay.
On the west side of that garage, they're saying that they want to have 28 feet of parking and then 5 feet
Let me see
of
if there's
green
a
space.
site plan.
And there's no way that there's that much room there.
Measure, what's
No,
the tape
it's a-
measure?
it's
From
a
the
thir- it's a
building, I measured
34.
From the building to the retaining wall on the property line, it came up to 28 feet.
In the, in your
Let's stay
in your.
focused on the topic at hand.
In your packet, there's this aerial photo. So if you, which shows the lot the lot line of the right of way. So it looks like it's just at the bottom of the southern gable here.
That's the other person's house.
No, I realize that, but then if you look at the map, you can then draw that line, imaginary line east. And you can kind of see that lot line is probably about here.
I'm not talking about anything on the south side of the building.
Oh, okay.
Talking about on the west side of the building,
West side, okay.
Between the,
between the house, the garage, and the retaining wall, you said it's 28 feet?
Well, I think I added the 5 foot off that property line. I wanted to come off I wanted to come off the property line.
Got it.
5 foot. So that would knock that down to 23 feet.
Okay, that makes more sense to me. I'm just looking at
Okay,
the
I was
scale
confused. I didn't
and going, it
understand.
doesn't- You're talking about having the total between your property line and your building about the same size as your roof does, and it's just not, I mean, you look at it, it's like, no, there's not enough there. And it may be out of scale, but they're all out of, I mean, it's all out of scale, so it's still relative to that building size. But that's neither here nor there. I don't even know if there's any requirement for a parking pad that can't go up to the property
You
line.
can go right to the property line.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, if you're looking for green space, there's supposed to be some in the front, in the boulevard area, but the city gave them a variance for the front of the building, right?
To the front to the property line.
To the property line, which is, what, 6 feet? Is that what-
6 from the house.
6 from the, from the house.
From the house, and then 22.7 feet from the front of the garage to the,
Oh, is that what it is, 22? And then to the curb? the
and then it's
property line?
another 17.
Oh, okay, so there's plenty of room in the front.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Okay, okay.
Even with a 15-foot boulevard area, you still have 24 feet between the garage and that.
With that 15 feet, you're not even to the property line yet. I mean, you're
You
still in
got
the
2
city's
feet off.
right away, right?
Got 2 feet off.
Yeah, so you're still in the city's right away at that point, yeah. I'm just trying to get a scale, you know, when I drove by there, that building looks huge. I mean, as I kept driving by going, this is all still the same building. So, I mean, it looks huge. So I don't know that that means anything, just that I'm trying to get some scale in my, scale of the, you know, what you're looking for here. I mean, what you have drawn on here showed a parking pad on the side of that, just like we talked about, and that's the drawing from the first variance request.
Yep.
And it shows a 24-foot opening and then a way to get around it. I mean, to me, I'm supportive of the 30 feet, but I don't know that I'm supportive of anything wider than that. And as long as you stay, the rest of it stays within the ordinance, which, you know, you could make it as wide as long as you stay away from that property line. you should still be able to back drive past it and back it up. By the look of the trucks and trailers, you know how to back up a trailer. So,
And it will always be just one trailer.
just one trailer?
Or not, we don't have multiple, we have one.
Now, I mean, I have a similar thing at my house, and I have a parking pad, and I have a trailer, it's a smaller motorcycle trailer, and another vehicle that I leave parked outside, and not a big deal backing it in there at all, you know? So I think 30 would make it,
I agree. I think 30
Yeah.
would make it match the neighborhood. 45 off to that parking pad,
Yeah, I-
like the rest of the neighborhood's pads are.
Yeah, I-
You have that angle off and then put the 15-foot boulevard of grass in like the staff recommends.
yeah,
I guess I see it now.
Yep.
It's a different, I didn't understand it reading it and then seeing the picture. And it just
Yeah.
wasn't connecting in my mind, so.
Is there a motion then? If you're,
I would entertain a motion.
I would like to make a motion to follow the staff's recommendation. And I just want to make sure that I'm clear on this. The staff's, I guess I would like to recommend a 30-foot curb cut be allowed at the front of the garage with those four conditions.
well, the fourth is
As-
any other conditions you might want to add. but-
Yeah, and I don't see
I don't
any
think
other.
any other conditions.
I don't see any other either, so basically the three conditions, and then if the council wants to add conditions, they can do that too, but, so there's four, I guess my motion is to approve a 30-foot curb cut, or recommend that they approve a 30-foot curb cut with the four conditions as listed in the staff report. That's my motion.
I second.
Second?
Do we have any other additional discussion? Tyler?
I just want to confirm point number 3, 15 feet wide is from the west, so the guy's adjacent garage slash
No,
retaining wall.
that's from the front.
That's from the front property line.
Front property line.
Do I need to
So it's
clarify?
got to
It's
be
actually from
15.
the curb, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be from the curb.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, from the curb to the,
Yeah, so I mean, that's not even to the right-of-way line. No.
It's 15 feet wide and it can be whatever deep. There's no depth
No, it's 15
expectation.
feet deep. 15 foot deep.
15 foot of grass.
I think we got to
from the road.
change the
so,
wording.
yeah, I just, that's a good point, because I just added, as you're talking that through, I added the language, an area boulevard at least 15 feet wide from the curb shall be planted with grass. So it's
Oh, so
clear.
adding the word 15 foot wide from the curb.
Right, shall be planted with grass and maintained. So, yeah, I can see where that could be confused with a
you're
side
right.
yard setback, so.
But that, to me, my understanding of it is that we're talking about north-south 15 feet from the curb line.
Right.
Needs to be
Right.
planted from that 30-foot wide over to the property line.
Gonna be landscaping?
Huh? Just grass.
Landscape rock?
Green space.
No.
Says
All in the
grass.
front of our house is rock, white rock.
Okay, so I'm going to also add a clarifying point on the west property line then. So I think we need to write in here under condition 4 what that definitive, like that easement needs to be before the concrete starts. Because we know there's going to be an adjacent pad next to the garage. From the retaining wall to the garage, it's going to be concrete. That's how they've shown it. I think writing in there what the easement is, how much space can be between the lot line and the start of the concrete should be written in here as well as a,
But the ordinance doesn't require anything.
okay,
from
if
the
it
property
doesn't.
line.
But they're
Doesn't require
proposing
anything,
five,
fine.
are you saying from the west property line over, they're proposing 5 feet, and if we want to put that within the conditions, that's a good idea.
But it could be 0. It can go concrete
go
all
0.
the way to the block.
Yep.
Okay, as long as that's the ordinance, then it doesn't really matter.
So,
But it's a conditional use permit, and you can put reasonable conditions on it.
Right,
We're giving them an extra allowance
I think
for,
we need some green space.
I would say we
mean,
should have some green space.
What is written here is grass, not rock, because if it's rock, we just drive on it and might as well just pour concrete, so it's grass, not rock.
it can be landscaped, it can be just, people landscape their boulevards and this and that. What we know is the boulevards are public space.
Yep.
And the expectation is that is grass or some nice landscaping. We have rain gardens in different ones. We're not asking for that. It's just sod is the minimum
Right.
expectation. Where they put it laterally on the property is what I think your
Correct, so
your
the
point
15
is.
feet wide is clear, it's in the front, off the curb, but then the west side toward the garage, I think Blake and I are saying the same thing, that there's gotta be a lane of sod there too. What it is, if it's 3 feet,
5 feet from the, what you're
it's
proposing.
gonna look like a commercial parking space.
Per ordinance, it doesn't need to be green.
So does, okay, so is like the rock considered a hard surface and not a permeable, or, I mean, like, what am I missing here?
You know, so where we're going with this is unclear to me. Maybe this needs to be tabled for a month. You want to consider that? And so we have a drawing?
I think we should table it. I'm okay with that too.
I mean,
Why do we need to
or
table?
take a recess for 15 minutes, we can draw this. I mean, because it seems vague that, because when we go to enforce this, which is what I am going to have to do, I would like the language to be clear. I don't think it's going to make everybody happy, but Scott, I need it
We need
clear.
to take a recess. I think we can.
Okay.
Here's what I propose. So on the third condition, an area of the boulevard at least 15 feet wide from the curb shall be planted with grass or landscaping and maintained from the west, from 5 feet from the west property line to the curb cut.
Minimum 5 feet.
Minimum 5 feet.
Right.
Okay, got a drawing here.
It creates a setback, basically.
A setback from the west property.
Correct.
Correct.
So a 15 foot from the curb of 64th and 5 feet from the west property line.
Can you define landscaping? What does that?
Grass, not
Not
drivable.
Minimum grass, but if they want to do
Not
rain gardens,
bushes, Not
Bushes.
bushes?
they want to do rain gardens,
Rain
bushes,
garden.
you know,
Can't be a driveway, can't be drivable. It's not, we're not putting rock in there and driving on it.
Like, I mean, like, when I say rock, it'd be this small to this,
Yeah.
huge, so.
I like the staff's recommendations of grass. It's consistent with the other neighborhood houses in the area.
Oh, okay.
So I'm sticking with grass
so
at
let
this
me,
point.
read it again. An area of boulevard at least 15 feet wide from the curb shall be planted with grass or landscaping and maintained a minimum of 5 feet from the west property line to the curb cut.
Which is just like this little sketch here. So essentially what you got is this is your garage, this is your property line on the west side, this is the curb, but this is the property line. And so you're gonna get it 30 feet wide, so everybody can see that, 30 feet wide.
Yeah, so-
And then from here it goes over to 5 feet from the property line.
Does it have to be 45?
It doesn't have to be 45. It doesn't have to be 45, as long as you get 15 feet here, you can go right over there.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I don't see an issue with that, because it's gonna make it more maneuverable for your trailer, you know what I mean? But essentially what we're doing is asking for grass in the right-of-way outside of the 30 feet that we're recommending that you get for your curb
But
cut.
as Scott is stating, he's stating grass or landscaping, which could
Can we
be
put
rocks, mulch, plants.
No, landscaping is a live plant. You can't just do rock. I mean, I don't think we have any other, maybe we do, Eric, any just purely rock boulevard areas.
This is public right-of-way that they're talking about.
Right.
We will not allow rocks, pavers, installations of things. It can be grass, it can be a garden, it can be something that's going to be maintained by the abutting property owner. That's you guys. That does not include gravel, that does not include pavers, that does not include anything drivable.
Or landscape
So,
rock even.
actually, the
I mean,
ordinance-
Landscape rock is,
The ordinance clarifies it for
Okay.
us. So grass and plantings and landscaping shall be provided in all areas bordering the parking
Okay,
area.
there you go.
So whether it's the west or the boulevard, grass or landscaping, that's what the language should be.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right, so I need to entertain a motion to eliminate the old motion. So,
I make a motion, we eliminate the old motion.
well, no, we gotta vote on it. So we gotta vote on the original motion because we're having discussion, so we gotta adjust.
Wait a minute, can't we just take a friendly amendment to the
Yes.
motion?
There you
I
go.
will entertain a friendly amendment to my motion, and then you'll just have to approve it as a second.
All right, so let's read it off again, please.
Tried to write down the motions here. An area boulevard at least 15 feet wide from the curb
Yep.
shall be planted with grass or landscaping, grass and/or landscaping, and maintained from a minimum of 5 feet from the west property line to the curb cut. And then the other two conditions.
All right.
Yep.
So Tim has made a friendly amendment, and
that-
Jen has,
That amendment is part of what I'm asking for in my motion. I'm amending my motion to change those 2 spots in condition number 3. And are you okay with that as a second?
I'm
The person that
I'm
seconded
okay. I'm okay with that, yes. I
Okay, so
second
now
it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Do we have any other additional discussion? Eric, Scott, Tyler?
Nope, I'm good.
All right, we can, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Unanimous.
All right.
When do they go to the council?
So this one will go to the city council on
On
Tuesday,
September-
September 27th.
27th.
All right, so we're gonna move on to the next topic at hand tonight. We've got Sodi Cigar and
Thank you.
Manny Group.
Thank you very much.
Scott?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. We have a application for design guidelines site plan review at 5946 Osgood Avenue North. It's a site plan and design guideline review for the Stillwater Crossings Shopping Center. They're planning an addition to the south of that building of 470 square feet. It's an area that's currently landscaped. There's a small patio there also. This would accommodate expansion of Sodi's Cigars. Our property is zoned a B2 General Business District. The applicant goes through some detail as to what they plan to use that space for and how it's to be used. Setbacks of the building within that area that's now just landscaped. The building will be compliant. There's no impact to the parking area, no impact to the curbs. There's more than adequate parking with this particular expansion based upon the shopping center parking requirements. There will be some removal of some rather nice landscaping, but it'll be replaced with a building. The lighting, they do propose a wall light fixture at the rear entrance door. Again, it'll just have to be a full cutoff, which typically is what we're seeing with everything now. Rarely are we seeing the floodlights being proposed. So there really no changes to the grading drainage. City engineers looked at it and said does not see any issues with it. It's surrounded by curb. I'd say an additional sign, there's actually a sign right now on that south, the round Sodi's cigar sign on the south. They're just gonna move that. Oh yeah, it shows it on the aerial, on the photograph that I have.
Is it a lit sign?
Yeah, and it's not a lit sign, so. And then there was a discussion that there would be additional mechanical equipment added to the roof that'll have to be properly screened or hidden within the parapets of the building. So pretty straightforward addition to the building, and we're recommending favorably with the 4 conditions that are listed in the report.
Thank you, Scott. Would the applicant like to speak about anything? Perfect. No one else wants to speak. I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Did you open it?
We didn't
I
open
guess I
it.
opened it. I guess I gotta open the public hearing.
Open it?
Oh, public hearing's opened.
Okay,
At
motion to-
6:47.
It's 6:47? Yep, 6:47. Okay.
I'd like to make a motion, since there's nobody to talk, to close the public hearing.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign? All right.
Watch how fast this will go. Let's get his timer going, I can see it.
So the only question I had about this one is the building's gonna be right on the road when it's done, or the driveway, right? So how far off of the driveway is the building actually gonna be, Scott?
It's actually going to be, if you look at the plans close enough, let me see, if I can pull that up. It will essentially be on the curb, and one of the considerations I had, well, would it create some issues with visibility? You know, I looked at, when I was out on the site, I looked at it, there's the loading area in the back, and obviously they're probably pulling in and pulling out again. So there's probably a reduction there, but of visibility, wouldn't see a truck pulling back as soon as you would if it was just landscaping. But again, I don't
backing
think
up-
there's that much traffic there that we have to worry about it.
If it's backing up, there's backup horns.
Yeah.
And I just think that when you look at the existing condition of the landscaping that's there, if you're in a car, you can't see around that either.
It is pretty
I mean, it's pretty thick.
It's pretty thick. Yeah, that's true too.
I mean, I don't see that being a concern. I have a question, though. Does the ordinance have a percentage of impervious surface requirement?
We don't.
Okay.
Not for the.
Then I don't.
Or residential areas.
So, Mr. Chair, so if I got you correctly, you're basically saying if there were some bollards here or something to prevent people from walking around, this might be a wise idea.
Exactly. Thank you, Eric.
You know, I'm envisioning, you know, if you go to McDonald's here in town and you walk out that east door, there's a little gate there, which is quite effective, because if you not paying attention, you'll walk out that door and you'll step right into the drive-through lane.
Yep.
So I just envisioned something like that should be installed on that end of that sidewalk.
Well, and I think bollards would keep someone from accidentally hitting your building.
Yeah, something, I think would,
I think we need something there.
It might be a wise
What I'm going with it is
idea.
I feel like it's gonna be right on the property and right on the edge, which is fine. There's other commercial properties look that way, but I just feel like depending on where that door is placed, someone's gonna turn and it's that blind spot coming around the corner,
Yeah.
and we're gonna have a near miss.
So the door is shared with the salon.
The front door.
Yeah, so you're not walking out the door onto
Right
the
there, you know.
pavement. You're,
And there's a sidewalk there in the front.
Right.
yeah.
Unless
So-
you're going down to those parking spaces, you know, you can see where you park down there and.
I'm
That's
just
a good
saying it's a
point.
warning of some form
Yeah.
that might impede somebody looking at their phone, not, you know.
Out of all seriousness,
That never happens.
Besides for the specific owner that's here, I'm surprised Bike Rack hasn't come up, because there's the salon, there's Carboni's, there's,
I didn't see one out there, but the old report says that there was one in place, so I don't know
I
if
think
it's
there's
still
one
there.
is there one up in front of Carboni's
I
right
think there's
now?
one up there, if I remember right.
It's in their smoking
Sure, the
section.
Jim will.
yeah, the people that are going to get cigars are not gonna go
Council meeting
biking,
says
but
what the deal is with it. Like, Greg.
That was my only comment, is I thought that might be something that should be considered.
I'm trying to think how it phrased that. So applicant shall provide warnings. I want to keep it open, so not limit them just to boulevards, but to whatever makes sense. Any thoughts on some language for that, Eric? What?
I don't know, at the southern terminus of that front sidewalk, owner shall install
Bollards or something
bollards or
similar.
gate to prevent, you know,
For pedestrian safety.
pedestrian safety conditions, so they don't walk out in the street and get smashed. So, right, that is the official term, so.
a safety mechanism should be installed on the south edge of the
Sidewalk.
sidewalk.
There you go.
Like
Perfect.
it. That'll work.
Because I was thinking on the
Clean
back
and
corner-
simple.
I was thinking on the back corner too, it's not as hectic or as tight as like Walgreens,
Right.
but with that being a through street now, how much more traffic is gonna go back behind the building on accident,
They might get
come through the
some.
parking lot, because that coming from the front of the establishment to the back, that back corner, what's the likelihood of
Yeah.
seeing a truck back there?
But also, anybody behind the building, I would argue, is probably there as an employee, or
Yeah.
they're
It's
not
not like a
there,
drive-through
Deliveries or.
their delivery, they're not customers and pedestrians.
Yeah.
I think your main concern is maybe on that front sidewalk. So just
For
to
the
make sure.
pedestrians, I think it is, but I also, I mean, whether it's a condition of the approval or not, I think that bollards along the south side of that building might be a good idea where the cars are driving, but now that I look at it, the back side of the building is the same thing.
But there's a curb, you know, as far as having them put bollards isn't necessary because you've got a regular
On the back.
non-surmountable curb.
Yeah. It's just the front. I was just still concerned.
Yeah.
Okay, do we have any other discussion other than entertain a motion?
I think the only other question I had was the signage point, so the applicant has to come back with the details of the sign, the backlit nature,
Yeah, the
Just the
sign.
staff, though.
Just
just to staff, yeah.
And that's kind of a standard condition we have. And if you're going to put the same type of painted sign on, there's no requirements for internal illumination, correct? Or are you considering maybe a lit sign on that south facade? Yeah, okay. So it'll just have to meet the lighting requirements.
Yeah,
Julie will catch that when those permits come through.
for sure. Okay. I make a motion to approve the applicant's permit as the staff recommends, with the added condition of including a safety mechanism on the front south side of the sidewalk.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it. I have a question, though, if we're going to discuss that. I just want to ask just clarification. So you're saying that the 4 conditions that are in the staff report are included in your motion?
Yep.
We're adding a 5th that was the safety for the pedestrians?
Correct.
Okay. That's
I mean,
clarification.
it's a pretty straightforward project. It's gonna expand the business. It's just,
Yep.
And the way I've worded that, if this sounds good to you, a pedestrian safety device shall be installed at the south edge of the front sidewalk. Is that pretty much what you?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay,
We got to vote.
all those in favor?
Oh, who seconded that motion? I'm sorry. Oh, Jen.
No, I did. I'm sorry, I did.
Tim.
I seconded it.
Okay, thanks.
I thought it was somebody here.
Want to make sure I got that.
All those opposed, same sign. All right, so again, we're just making recommendations to the city council, so the city council will have the final say on this, and it'll go before the city council on the 27th this month. So
22nd.
Or 27. 27.
Is it 7?
27.
27.
27.
Boy, I wrote that down wrong.
All right, so we'll move on. Do we have any new
Thank you very
business?
much.
We have no new business. Do we have any old business? Seeing no old business. Do we have anything informational? We have the upcoming meetings. We talked about the ribbon cutting. It's coming up. Exciting. Go to the ribbon cutting. You should have all those. Council representation for Tuesday, the 27th. I might not be here, so I might need to trade with someone if someone could go in my stead. I might be here. I don't know. I might have to go to Arizona for work.
If you gotta go, we can just flip flop September, October.
Okay. If that's okay with everyone, Tyler and I'll flip flop. Do we have anything else?
I could make a motion to adjourn.
Well, I have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Yay.
Those